Hi everybody. Sorry we're late. We were Black Friday shopping in here and I didn't get home till, I don't know what time it was late, pretty late. 9:45 or something. And then we were Black Friday shopping and chatting in here. Hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. We did a good Thanksgiving. A lot of food. And what was I going to say? A lot of food, a lot of family, a lot of fun. And I gave Michael and Gia the bears. They loved them. And then we got home, like I said, about 9:45. So, cold. My hands are cold. I don't know why. It's very cold. Cold hands. Warm heart. Okay. Let me go see the chat. I'm not in the chat. My daughter took over my massage chair tonight. Okay. What are we? Oh, look, somebody's cooking our Christmas candy recipes. Our Christmas candy recipes. Alright, let me go over here. And, oh, look at that. Would you look at that? Isn't that special? Somebody asked about the candle making. That is not, okay, it's not tomorrow. It's a week from tomorrow. It's a week from Friday. It's going to be, my hair is like all like poofy, like a mushroom or something. A week from Friday. And I believe it's 8 o'clock. But it might be as early as 6 o'clock. I'm not sure. You have to check. Check on the community post. All right. Let me go to the chat now. Go to top chat. So, hello. Hi Marianne. I can't get used to you without the last name. Hi Farm Wife. Hi Julie W. Hello there, Opadibob. Liza Ward and Daniel. Hi Daniel. Okay. Hi Kevin. Is everybody like stuffed like crazy? I did want a cup of coffee when I came home and I had a cup of coffee. Okay, so good morning, Will Lisa. Hi, Jen Grill. Hi, Nicole. So what's going on with Leilani Simon? The top officer says she doesn't deserve Thanksgiving. And so let's see what's going on with that. And then my future daughter-in-law and I were talking about this case in Mexico. Well, they made an arrest of where that woman was killed, and they have an arrest now. So we're going to talk about that too. This woman right here. So prosecutors in Mexico have obtained an arrest warrant for a friend of the North Carolina woman who died at her vacation villa last month in Cabo San Lucas. The Attorney General for Mexico's Baja California son, Daniel de la Rosa, said Wednesday that his office has begun extradition proceedings for an unnamed suspect. It wasn't a quarrel between two friends, but instead a direct aggression. Shaquilla Robinson, 25, died on October 29th, just a day after arriving in Cabo with 6 college friends. The friends returned to North Carolina and told Robinson's parents that she died of alcohol poisoning, but an autopsy said she died from severe neck injury. And while that autopsy said Robinson died within 15 minutes of receiving the injury, a police report indicated that a doctor had been called to the villa and was with her for 3 hours before she began having seizures and died. And a video surfaced showing another woman beating Robinson, who did not fight back. It's not known if the woman seen in the video is the same woman in the Mexican arrest warrant. Robinson's parents confirmed the victim in the video was their daughter, and that other people seen in the video were some of the friends who accompanied her to Mexico. Mexican authorities announced an investigation into her death with the FBI. None of the friends have responded to any attempts to contact them by reporters, and several have disconnected their phone numbers. Now, Robinson's mother, Salamandra Robinson, said that she wants to see each of them sent back to Mexico because their plan was to come back here thinking they were not going to be prosecuted. She was a caring person, and I want them to always remember that. We're going to keep her legacy alive. So very crazy, right? 6 friends and 5 return, huh? And then it's been 12 years without any answers. What happened to the Skelton brothers? I think these are the ones that they were riding on. This one riding on their tricycle. Isn't that what the father that had them? Yeah, in Ohio, in Holiday City, Ohio. Okay. So November marks 12 years since 3 Michigan boys vanished while visiting their father. Yes, this is the case, I remember. He remains in jail in connection with their unsolved disappearance, but not with their deaths. The Skelton brothers, Andrew 9, Alexander 7, and Tanner 5, were last seen playing in the backyard of their father's home in Morenci on November 26, 2010. At the time, the boys' father and mother, John Skelton and Tanya Zuvers, were in the midst of a contentious divorce. Zuvers had sole custody of her sons, but she allowed her estranged husband to have them for the holiday. She reported her sons missing the Friday after Thanksgiving. Police learned through a series of interviews that John Skelton had traveled to Holiday City, Ohio, 25 miles from his home, and around the time that Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner were last seen alive. Cell phone records suggested that John Skelton made the trip between 4:29 a.m. and 6:46 a.m. on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Police hyper-focused on that time frame as they believed that's when he killed his sons or dumped their bodies. Court documents allege that John Skelton searched online for how to break a neck a week before his sons vanished. Around the same time, he allegedly also attempted to hang himself. He's progressed over the 12 years. In September of 2011, John Skelton was sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison for his son's unlawful imprisonment. In August of 2022, he was denied parole, but he was able to reapply he's able to reapply in a year. Michigan Department of Corrections spokesperson Chris Gouts said that the longest he can stay in prison for is November 29th of 2025. It's worth noting that John Skelton has not been charged with Tanner, Alexander, and Andrew's assumed murders. He has maintained his innocence, although his story has changed a couple of times over the years. At one point, John Skelton told police that he handed his sons off to a woman named Joanne Taylor. He insisted he did not know Joanne Taylor, and he had met her on the side of the road when she had car troubles. Officers quickly determined the entire account was fabricated. The father of 3 has since claimed that he gave his sons to a group of child protective activists to shield them from their mother, who he alleged was abusive. In February 2018, he said that he gave the boys to 2 women and a man who planned to take the boys to a farm in Ohio. More than a decade later, John Skelton has not identified the organization he said has Alexander, Tanner, and Andrew, and no one has come forward claiming to have the boys. Court documents provide a glimpse into the tumultuous custody battle between John Skelton and Zubers that preceded their three sons' disappearances. Zubers filed for divorce on September 13, 2010, the same day John Skelton allegedly signed Alexander and Andrew out of school and took them to Jacksonville, Florida. Now, despite this, the father eventually returned his sons to Michigan and was having visitation without complication. Zubers was granted sole custody after John returned from Florida. However, the pair reached a visitation agreement outside of court. John Skelton was a long-haul truck driver and was often away from home for extended periods of time. Around the time his sons went missing and he attempted to kill himself, he had lost his job in addition to his marriage. A month before his sons disappeared, John Skelton filed for custody, accusing Zubers of being a registered sex offender. Records indicated Zubers had pled guilty to a fourth-degree criminal conduct for having sex with a 14-year-old boy back in 1998. Zubers has repeatedly denied abusing her sons. In 2020, 10 years after the Skelton brothers were last seen, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released an age progression composite on what they might look like today. The age progressions are always the hardest for me, says the boy's aunt to Neil McCain. In my mind, I still see them as 5, 7, and 9. Their faces are etched in my mind, and I just wish answers could be given. Anyone with information regarding the case of the Skelton brothers' whereabouts should call the Michigan State Police at 1-517-636-0689. Okay. Okay, so an elderly Utah couple was found dead in their garage on Wednesday, and their grandson has been arrested for murder after the man's mother told police she believed that he was responsible. Jeremy Belt, 26, was charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder and 1 count of assault with other charges. The Clearfield police said that they were called by a 60-year-old woman who said she had found her 87-year-old father and her 85-year-old mother dead in the garage, and she thought that her son was responsible and told police she thought that he was still inside the house. Police say that Belt called his mother on the phone, and she handed the phone over to an officer who convinced him to surrender. He was taken into custody without any incident. According to documents filed with the court, Belt admitted killing his grandparents under investigation. He said he had been concerned that family members were trying to hurt him and confronted his grandparents about his concerns. And when they tried to get away, he cut the motor wire for the garage door and trapped them inside, where he attacked them with a hammer. After the hammer attack, their grandson shot them. There's evidence that there probably was an altercation of some sort that occurred, or some type of incident that occurred inside of the garage, said Clearfield Police Chief Kelly Bennett. There had been other acts of violence that have occurred earlier in the day that were not reported but did not provide details. The documents say that Belt admitted he kicked another family member in the face, giving them a black eye. Investigators seized drugs and drug paraphernalia during a search of the house. We hope to have a celebration with our family members, and so does this family as well, and they'll be mourning the loss of 2 loved ones. We will investigate this throughout the weekend and put as much time and effort in it as we have to find a resolution here as to what occurred, and hopefully find some justice for this family. So the police speaking about that, wow, it's crazy. Now, what not to do when you're going to New York. Don't leave your toddler son home alone and think that that's going to be okay, because you'll end up like these 2, maybe even worse. South Carolina couple was arrested this week after they reportedly left their 2-year-old son home alone while they went to New York. Charleston police responded to an apartment complex on Folly Road at about 2 p.m. on November 17th by someone who reported a toddler was home alone in an apartment. The apartment manager reported being unable to contact anyone living in the apartment and so conducted an emergency walkthrough. The manager found the toddler sleeping on a bed in the living room and called police. The boy woke up when police arrived and immediately reached for his empty water bottle. Officers said the child appeared to be in good health, albeit with a dirty diaper. A witness told officers that the child's father, 24-year-old Donald Gekange, had texted him that he was in New York for business. Police called in child services, who changed the boy's diaper, put him in fresh clothes, and took him to the Shawn Jenkins Children's Hospital for an evaluation. Meanwhile, police tried multiple times to reach Gekange and the boy's mother, 24-year-old Darlene Aldrich, but were unsuccessful. Gekange later called the apartment complex and spoke with an officer. The court papers say that the father initially told the officer that he left the apartment at 6 a.m. that morning and was only a few states away. He later said that he was in New York on business and that he didn't know who was supposed to be taking care of the boy, although he had assumed it was Aldrich. In a third version of the story, Gekange said Aldrich was also in New York for an emergency, and they were both arrested on Monday and charged with unlawful conduct towards the child. The father was ordered held on $50,000 bail, while the mother's bail was set at $75,000. They both bonded out on Wednesday. They were only a few states away. Just a few states away. It's okay, right? Yeah. Good one. Okay, and then the victims in Tuesday's Walmart shooting in Virginia ranged in age from 16 years old to 70, and they worked across departments in the store. Police say 2 of the victims and the shooter, overnight manager Andre Bing, were found dead in the Chesapeake store's break room. 3 more died in the hospital. 6 more were wounded. Co-workers described the overnight team as family and were devastated. The fatal victims have been identified as Lorenzo Gamble, 43, an overnight custodian. Gamble had been with the Walmart for 15 years and was in charge of banana pudding and banana pudding cake for his family's Thanksgiving. His mother said, "I just wanted my boys to spend time with me." Linda Gamble, mother, said. Kelly Pyle, 42. Pyle, a grandmother, had recently returned to Virginia from Indiana after a divorce. I feel like we know that little name, Kelly Pyle. "We always said we were going to grow old together," her cousin Billy Pillar Gibson said. "None of this makes sense in the whole scheme of things. We're still young." Tanika Johnson, 22, was a light in a dim room, according to Kashiba Cannon, Johnson's tutor during her early high school years, and who remained close. She had an affinity for music and dancing, was always available to help other students, Cannon said. Brian Pendleton, 38, a maintenance worker, and was described by former co-workers as one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life. He never raised his voice, never had a bad bone in his body, said Chandrea Reese. Nobody could ever say anything bad about that man. He didn't deserve to die like that. Randy Blevins, 70, was part of the overnight cruise modular team which set prices and arranged merchandise in the store. He had worked there for more than 20 years and was a sweet soul who always had a smile on his face, a friend wrote on Facebook. His cousin Virgil Wemmer said he was planning his retirement in the next year. A 16-year-old boy was also killed in the shooting, but police did not identify him because he was a minor. Walmart confirmed the adults worked at the store but did not say if the teen was an employee. Okay. Okay, so California father's on the run, wanted for murder, after police say he shot and killed his daughter's ex-boyfriend who had allegedly been chasing the woman, his daughter, in his car. Los Angeles County Sheriff's detectives say that Giovanni Gutierrez confronted his ex's girlfriend at her job. Hold on a minute. At her job on Monday afternoon and took her cell phone. They met nearby and the woman retrieved her cell phone, but when Gutierrez tried to break her car mirror, she drove away. Witnesses told investigators that Gutierrez, driving a white Chrysler 300M sedan, was chasing his former girlfriend, who was driving a compact car. The two cars collided during the pursuit at least once. Both cars stopped in the middle of Sierra Highway, the sheriff's department said, and Gutierrez tried to force his way into her car while she was on the phone with family members who had called 911. She told us at the time she was inside the car that Giovanni was trying to get in, was reaching through the window after he had already taken her keys, trying to open the door, trying to pull her out of the car, and at some point he had gotten his hands around her throat, said the sheriff's detective Derek Alfred. While Gutierrez was still trying to get in the car, a white Ford Ranger arrived on the scene. A passenger of the pickup truck got out and shot Gutierrez once in the head. The man had been identified as Jose Mendoza, the ex-girlfriend's father. Gutierrez was taken to the hospital where he later died. Mendoza is now wanted for murder. Surveillance video showed Mendoza at a sheriff's station, but he turned around and left and remained at large on Wednesday. The sheriff's office described Mendoza as 59, 5'6" tall, 140 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Investigators believe he is armed with a semi-automatic handgun and should not be approached. Okay, Leilani Simon made her first court appearance on Wednesday, 2 days after police arrested her in connection with the death of her 1-year-old son, Quentin Simon. Investigators found Quentin's possible remains at a landfill where he's believed to have been taken after his body was discarded in a dumpster. Simon, 22, was arrested for his presumed murder on Monday. In court Wednesday, she waived her right to appear, and a Chatham County judge denied her bail. Simon reported her son missing at 9:30 a.m. on October 5th, telling police that her boyfriend Daniel Youngkin saw him around 6 a.m. in the playpen. She also reportedly told investigators she believed the boy's biological mother took him, but police say the father's alibi checks out. Biological father took him. But the father's alibi checks out. For weeks, investigators scoured through a Georgia landfill in hopes of finding Quentin after determining that Leilani Simon put his body into a nearby dumpster that would be emptied into that landfill. And then, so she's denied bond. And then, let me see here. Okay. Okay, here's something. Oh, but we're going to go back to Leilani in a minute. First, we're going to talk about something. So in Arkansas, a woman was arrested on Tuesday for allegedly stabbing and cutting off half of her father's ear during a dispute over a cell phone. Police responded to an apartment complex in Hot Springs, and they were met by a 44-year-old man who had a bloody rag held to his ear in the parking lot. The man stated that his daughter, Jasmine Flores, 18, had just cut and stabbed him with a kitchen knife. And it was after they were arguing about the music on her phone being too loud. According to the media, the victim said he took Flores' phone before she got a pair of scissors and used them to poke him in the chest. Flores allegedly then grabbed him by the throat and tried to cut him. I thought that would be the end of it because she's my baby girl, he said. To police, after the victim tried to flee, Flores reportedly retrieved a kitchen knife and tried to cut him, but it only sliced his jacket. The victim gave Flores her phone back, but she continued to attack him with the knife. She allegedly followed her father as he fled to a neighbor's apartment, and she entered the neighbor's apartment without the knife and told him, "I should have hurt you worse," before leaving. Police wrote that the father's ear was sliced in half, roughly an inch from the top. He reportedly also suffered lacerations to his forehead, his neck, and under his chin. Officers who entered the man's apartment located Flores, who allegedly had a knife in the waist of her pants. She eventually threw the knife on a nearby bed before she was arrested. According to a news outlet, the victim drove himself to the hospital where he was told he wouldn't need stitches. Police took photos of the victim and Flores to document his injuries and compare them to the lack of hers. Flores, who is charged with second-degree domestic battery, remains jailed without bond. She's due in court on January 2nd. Wow, that's crazy. Let's see. There was something else to do here. There's something about Leilani Simon. Back to Leilani Simon. According to a family friend who wants to remain anonymous, 22-year-old Leilani Simon checked herself into a rehabilitation center just weeks after her son's death. On Monday, she checked herself out of the center, spurring her mother, Billie Jo Howell, to take action. On October 5th, Simon reported 1-year-old Quentin missing, claiming that she last saw him around 6 a.m. That morning. On Monday, police found the boy's body in a Georgia landfill and alleged that Simon put Quentin in a dumpster following his death. Quentin's manner of death has not been determined, and a local lab is working to positively identify the body. Now, after Simon signed herself out of rehab, Howell herself was too upset to explain how the details to the station. Her mother had to make one of the hardest decisions of her life and call FBI agents and let them know that she was signing herself out and that she could not come back here, and that she was going to be a flight risk because she could not come back here, because she was going to be back on the streets doing who knows what with who knows what, the friend said. The friend added that on the advice of the FBI, her mother, Howell, picked Leilani up from the treatment center and spent several hours with her before taking her to the Savannah FBI office. They asked her to buy some time, so she went and picked up Leilani's belongings from another center and then took Leilani to have her last free meal. And let's see, that's it on that. One. Did I see that other thing? Oh, then we got this one. Jealous girlfriend. So, police in Texas arrested a 23-year-old woman on Monday, charging her with setting her ex-boyfriend's house on fire early this week. Senato Soto was reportedly upset when a woman who turned out to be a relative of the former boyfriend answered his phone. She thought her boyfriend was cheating. He wasn't cheating. It was a relative. The owner of the home, a relative of the boyfriend, said that Soto broke in several times and set the house on fire. An affidavit filed in the case said that Soto FaceTimed her boyfriend and showed him the burning chair inside the house. "I hope your stuff is going to be okay," she said, then ended the call, according to the affidavit. Soto has been charged with burglary and arson and being held on a $165,000 bond. And let's see here. There was something. Oh, here we are. Back to Leilani for another one. Okay, so Leilani did not appear at a bond hearing, but she is expected at a preliminary hearing that's set for January 11th, 2023, when prosecutors will likely present some of the findings that led to her arrest. The 22-year-old mother is charged with the murder and concealment, death of another, false report of a crime, false statements or writings, concealing facts or fraudulent documents in matters of government. Chatham County Police Chief Jeff Hadley said on the October 13th that investigators had concluded the little boy was dead and that his mother was a primary suspect. That week, investigators began the search of the landfill. As Hadley said, they believed Quinton's body was put into a dumpster that was taken there. Search teams located remains in the landfill on Friday, and lab tests confirmed them to be human. Leilani was arrested on Monday. The Chatham County Police Department announced a DNA analysis is underway to confirm the identity of the remains, but Hadley said investigators have every reason to believe this will confirm the remains are Quinton's. Hadley pointed out that investigators combed through 1.2 million pounds of trash over 30 days. She doesn't deserve a Thanksgiving, quite frankly, Hadley said. Quinton deserves that. Okay, and what time is it? It's 3:22. I'm going to check out the chat for a little bit, and then I'm going to sign off. I'm exhausted. Let's see. So, you try to block in my mind. Can't even imagine this. Hey there, Jeanette. How are you doing? I'm so tired. Hi, Sassy. I am exhausted. And I hate to say this, but I'm exhausted. And I'm going to go to bed. But I'm going to start a new Zoom before I do that. Let me do that. New Zoom review coming straight for you. Okay. Right. New Zoom review coming straight for you. My eyes are closing. I want to sit in my massage chair. I miss my massage chair. Okay. Sorry. I don't mean to be whining. I'll be in the Zoom, but I need to sit in my massage chair. I need you, massage chair. I need you. I need you. I need you like the flower needs the rain. You know I need you. Has anybody bought anything good on Black Friday? What do I need? I'm so tired. Okay, let me go over here and put this here. Oh shit, that's the wrong. I know, everybody's probably freaking because I did the wrong invitation. I did the wrong invitation. Yeah. What?
The bananas slices are like real crunchy.
Yeah.
You know any?
No.
Maybe why. I eat them.
Okay.
I eat Rocky.
All right. Mm-hmm. What was I trying to do? Oh, I know what I'm trying to do. Okay. So now you have that. Okay. Now you have that. And here comes Sharon, first in. Sharon wins the prize tonight. Happy birthday, Sharon, you win the prize. Happy birthday, Sharon, you win the prize. There you go.
Yay.
Yay.
What do I win?
Well, not the Jelly of the Month Club.
It's clearly not that.
It's so expensive. I don't know. We'll just see. What do they? Milk Ball of the Month Club. Okay. Where the heck? New Zoom is posted. Yeah, the new Zoom is posted. How come we're not? Okay, we're. Good night, Sassy. Good night, everybody. Sorry, we're on late, and sorry, just to check in a couple of stories, and then it's time for me to go on the massage chair. But thank you for coming in, and oh, here's Debbie D. Hi, Debbie D. There we go. Hi, Debbie D.
Hey, how are you?
Is anyone even in the Zoom? Yeah, we just started a new one, Sassy. Of course they'll be in the Zoom. There's always someone in the Zoom.
Is anyone in the Zoom?
Always, always, Sassy. All right, we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll have things. We'll do something fun. I don't know what. Probably some crafting. I don't know, something. Oh, I have to decoupage a dresser. That's what I have to do. I might be doing that tomorrow. Brought it in. I have to decoupage it. I have it in the hallway. I'll show you tomorrow. Maybe I'll work on that tomorrow. That sounds like fun. All right. All right. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Love you. Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, and prayers for all that need. And we'll see you tomorrow. Okay. All right. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Be good. Let's see. How to do this? No, I don't want to end that. What am I doing? I'm almost going to end the news.